When President Trump picked Alaska as the location for his summit with Russian President Vladimir Putin, the location sent a message which said a savvy deal was in the works. The US had purchased the location from Russia in 1867 for about 2 cents an acre. So what happened in the meeting, and did both leaders get what they wanted? Let's try and park the short summit. Before Trump came to power for a second term, he vowed to finish the Russia-Ukraine war within 24 hours. Time and again, the US president said that the war would not have happened on his watch. The president endorsed himself as a peacemaker, and even before meeting Putin, he claimed that his summit was focused on saving a lot of lives.
What will make a success of this summit today?
But I want to see a ceasefire rapidly. I don't know if it's going to be today, but I'm not going to be happy if it's not today. Everyone said it can't be today, but I'm just saying I want the killing to stop. I'm in this to stop the killing.
Russian President Vladimir Putin received a red carpet welcome. A leader who has been ostracized by the West for decades stepped on US soil after 10 years. Putin was welcomed by American fighter jets, a B-2 bomber, and a ride in the Beast. The closed-door meeting lasted for over 2 hours, but in their brief joint appearance, both leaders eluded from making any definitive statements about the areas of agreement or disagreement. However, they went on to say that they are making headway to a peaceful path.
I would like to thank Mr. Trump for our joint work, for the friendly and trusting tone of the conversation. The main thing is that both sides were committed to the result.
Despite the fact that the meeting took place on US soil, President Trump allowed President Putin to speak first at their joint appearance. The Russian leader used the opportunity to offer his own view of the conflict in Ukraine and what he claimed were the root causes of Russia's invasion.
But at the same time, we are convinced that for the Ukrainian settlement to be sustainable and long-term, all the root causes of the crisis, which have been discussed repeatedly, must be eliminated. All of Russia's legitimate concerns must be taken into account, and a fair balance in the security sphere in Europe and the world as a whole must be restored.
The Russian president departed from the United States without making any major concessions while maintaining a warm rapport with Trump. Putin even invited Trump to hold their next meeting in Moscow.
Again, Mr. President, I'd like to thank you very much, and we'll speak to you very soon and probably see you again very soon. Thank you very much, Vladimir.
Next time in Moscow.
While many welcomed Trump's summit with Putin, others expressed their disappointment over the results. Trump had gone into the summit saying there was a 25% chance that the summit would fail and that it was meant to be a fill-out meeting, but he had also floated the idea of bringing Zelensky to Alaska for a subsequent three-way meeting if things went well. At the moment, it is unclear whether a trilateral meeting is on the cards. Mr. Raymond E. Vickery is a former U.S. Assistant Secretary of Commerce for Trade Development and Senior Associate at the Center for Strategic and International Studies. Mr. Vickery is now joining us live from Washington, D.C. Mr. Vickery, it's good to see you and thank you very much for making time for us. Talk to us about the demeanor of Trump before meeting Putin and after meeting Putin, and was there anything that was accomplished from this mini-summit, in your view?
Well, thanks very much for having me. It's always a pleasure to be with WION. World is One is a very good starting point for this discussion. You know, peace, like war, has to be waged, and it means that you have to have strategy and you have to have cooperation from allies and supporters. It can't be a one-off like a real estate transaction, which unfortunately is President Trump's orientation, that you can get two great people together, strong men, and they will be able to settle things. This just is not right. And it's not correct, and it didn't lead really to anything except really a great triumph for President Putin. President Putin was treated as an equal. The worst transgression against the UN Charter since its founding, that is non-aggression, non-imperialism, not taking over other people's territory, all that's kind of swept under the rug. Now, the demeanor of President Trump going in was to try to lower expectations, but at the same time saying, yes, he wanted to stop the killing. Ceasefire was absolutely the very first order priority. And coming out, there was nothing said about really ceasefire or stopping the killing. And indeed, President Putin and the Russian forces continued to kill and continued their offensive to try to gain territory. The fact that it was held in Alaska, of course, as you point out, once Russian territory, in which many, or some at least, in Russia and Moscow leading circles claim still as Russian territory, say it was a bad deal, is significant. The whole point about security for Ukraine was completely swept under the rug. There was a 1994 Budapest Agreement, you may recall, in which Russia and the United States and United Kingdom all guaranteed security for Ukraine if they would give up their nuclear weapons. And of course, Putin just completely blew that out of the water and went right on with aggression there. It's time, it seems to me, for other great nations, such as India, to step up and provide some leadership role. India has leverage with Russia, not only as a customer of arms and oil, but because historically, and India and others need to step in. Unfortunately, it seems that it's not going to be anything other than the same old with President Trump. He's an expert at trying to create his own reality. He does it domestically. If he gets a bad jobs report, he just says it was bad. If he loses an election, as he did in 2020, he says that's false, fake news. And
Mr.
here
Vickery,
he's saying some sort of triumph, and it's not the case.
Mr. Vickery, let's talk about Zelensky now, because the focus shifts to Zelensky. And when you pointed out that India could offer a helping hand, India has indeed offered a helping hand, because the Prime Minister of India has been to Russia several times, and his word is diplomacy. But let's talk about what is slated to happen tomorrow. Zelensky is going to Washington, D.C. He's about to meet President Trump. What do you think will happen tomorrow? What are your predictions, very quickly?
My prediction is that it'll be more of the same. I don't think there'll be any dressing down or anything. President Zelensky is in a very tough spot. He's got to have U.S. arms to be able to defend himself. He's not going to want to disturb that. But behind the scenes, it seems to me that in addition to preserving arms from the United States, he's going to try to work with European allies to provide some sort of common front. So I don't see anything dramatic like happened in the first White House meeting, which was very unfortunate, nor do I see anything that will be a breakthrough. Zelensky will try, of course, to be directly involved, and there may be something to that. But it seems to me that basically there's been an offloading onto Zelensky. President Trump said he was going to solve this on day one of his presidency. That hasn't happened, and now he says it's all up to Zelensky to solve. So I think that he's trying to offload the responsibility here.
All right. Mr. Vickery, it's good to see you. We'll have to end this discussion there. Thank you for talking to us today.
Thank you very much for having me.